Well, Jamie Klingman,
Mr. Martinez, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I know we've already solved all the world's problems before we hit record, but
True
to to
story.
to try to solve one more. Actually, I think we might have created more issues than solved. But anyways, that'll be
Also
more
true
conversations.
story.
So we'll have so much more to record.
Yes.
But you mentioned something to me that I think is so critical, and that is dealing with some of the listings that we have is really seeing things from the buyer's perspective, obviously.
Yes.
And now that we are starting even to transition to representing buyers, which that's a interesting situation on the business brokering side, but really seeing a business from a buyer's perspective is a total shift in thought from a business brokering perspective.
Yeah, but a good one, right? Because if you don't understand who's buying it, how do you understand who's buying it?
Yeah, of course.
How do you meet their needs? The negotiation 101 is, understanding what the main thing somebody wants is, and you can fulfill that. Usually you can make the rest work. So I think understanding what a buyer is looking for also helps a seller be able to position their company to be worth more because they'll be focusing on the things that are important to a buyer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've heard it said, and we know this is true, is that if you have a company that is actually built to sell, like really having that in the forefront of your mind and designing it that way, you really have an asset and not just a job. And
Right.
unfortunately, that's what most of us, and I know both of us have the same kind of experience, in our previous companies that we built and sold.
Yep.
Um, we had a job until, some changes were made before selling. But if we could go back in time and tell our old selves, hey man, make sure you do this, and that, so that you actually built an asset better.
Yes, 1,000%. I think there's lots of focus in entrepreneurship and owning a business and in cash flow, which is important and does contribute to value. But at the end of the day, there has to be something that can be sold and that will continue to operate ideally as functionally, if not more functionally, post sale, meaning the seller is able to step completely away at some point in the future. A lot of times sales have the seller stay on through a transition period. That's not what we're talking about, but that really post exit when a seller's left, what's left of the business. Because
Yeah,
if the seller's been driving everything, then there really isn't an asset there. And they really just had a job without a boss that was outside their head.
yeah, exactly. And hey, man, I mean, we all fall into this as entrepreneurs, is that we need to make it happen. We are the chief marketers, we are the chief salesperson, we are the bookkeepers, we are the product developers, we are the researchers, we are the service managers, we are, and we feel like we have to do it all. And that is one of the worst things you can do if you're trying to build an asset to sell, is trying to be all in every part of your company.
Yeah, well, especially long term. So in the beginning, sure, you have to do what you have to do, but as you grow, and one of the big things, and this was a mistake I made as much as I've seen other people make it, is making sure that the business isn't all about you. So that even comes down to when you're networking, when you're maybe getting some awards and things like that, if they're all in your name. And so the world knows your name and not your company's name per se, there isn't, that goodwill is not the same size as it is if someone knows the company's name. Or so, one of the things I would have done differently is hired sooner someone to be the front person, meaning the person who's going out to marketing and networking events, the person who's answering the phone and taking on clients. And that would have been a one of the priorities, maybe even over some of the back office things that ultimately you also want to hand off. But no one could see that part that you're doing that. So
Sure.
there wasn't a concern of, oh, this business isn't transferable because Jamie's still doing her own books versus Jamie's the one who's out networking. What happens when Jamie's not the one networking? Are they calling because of me, Jamie, or are they calling because of my company? And that's um, a buyer's going to want to know that and understand that not only are the phones or emails or however you take in business going to keep theoretically ringing, but they're also going to, you know, our employees going to stay and our clients going to stay, you know, so that the closer the relationship that a seller has with the entities within their business, the harder it is to prove to a buyer that their business is really transferable. And if it's not transferable, there's really nothing to buy.
And that is really tough, like on an entrepreneur, like, because this
Yeah.
is our baby, this is our thing, you know, it
Yes.
is me. I'm going to give the most personalized service. I'm going to customize everything. I'm going to have super happy customers. And the thing is that you become a non-transferable asset of the company. You're not an asset anymore. You're a liability to the company if somebody's trying to buy that.
Right. Yeah.
And to give credence, I know you mentioned this before we got on our call, but that most buyers are not looking to buy a job, but there are some people who are looking to buy a job, like to step into somebody's place. You know, I mean, I'm seeing that most buyers, they want to buy an asset, which means that they're there to be the owners, but not the operators. But fair enough, there are people who do want to be owner operators. But even in the sense of owner operator, it makes it a very difficult transition if you've been the front of everything in the business.
Right. And there's certainly, you know, most buyers want to come to the table wanting to bring their skill sets to do something to improve the business. So, but their skill set may be different than the seller's skill set. And that may be necessary, you know, to in a company that is being bought to be acquired into a bigger company, or, you know, is ready to take that next level up, and the current owner doesn't want to do that. So you definitely want to make sure that as a seller, that you are not so connected in on a relationship level that someone couldn't step into your place. And that is good practice, even if you're not looking at selling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid something happens to any one of us in Florida traffic or probably traffic all over the United States. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that can go wrong. And if something happens and you're not able to run your business anymore, ideally you're leaving an asset for your family and those things. And so you'd want almost a turnkey situation is the ideal, where someone can come in and take over at any point, at least on a short-term business, short-term opportunity, if not a longer one, is a key sign that you're in a good position to be able to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to talk about business continuity at another time, but yeah, no, good talk, man. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, the more I'm into this, the more I'm seeing through these lines of what really is building a valuable company. And I hope that we all pay attention to those little tidbits as we continue to grow our companies to one day sell them. So
Absolutely.